Calling this meeting to order at 8:35. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on our agenda is to approve the board meeting minutes from our June 10th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of the board meeting minutes from the June 10th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next on our agenda, we have approval of the May 2025 primary and special election PEO performance evaluations, and I will ask the director to explain that item for us.
Yes, good morning. Our precinct election official department has completed their review of the PEO performance from the May primary. The staff summary report is in your packet. Happy to report that out of the 285 polling locations, 226 of them had a perfect score. In the assessment, the remaining 59, although did not receive a perfect score, they did demonstrate adequate performance. So there's no need for any additional action there. We are recommending that 3 of our precinct election officials be retired, and the last, there's no rehire, and that's documented in your report. Staff recommends approval of the performance assessment.
I'll move approval of the performance assessment.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have approval of precinct realignments. Director Poland.
Yes, our operations department monitors the number of registered voters per precinct, and as typical after a presidential election with the spike in registration, we have 8 precincts that were either close to the 1,400 active registered voter maximum or a little over it. So in 7 of those situations, staff is recommending just tweaking the precinct lines, moving a portion of voters into an adjoining precinct. In those 7 situations, 3 of those precinct realignments, moving those voters will cause their polling location to change. So obviously we will send notice to all of the voters who've had a precinct change if the board approves. And then we're creating 1 additional precinct in Miami Township B. In addition to the spike in registrations due to the presidential, we've also seen a lot of development in these areas, and especially in Miami Township. So our recommendation is to create a new precinct, Miami I. We do have to split a census block in order to create this new precinct, and we have received a waiver from the Secretary of State's office allowing us to split that precinct block. So staff recommends approval of the precinct realignments as outlined in your packet.
So I'm just going to make a blanket motion that we adopt the precinct changes as recommended by staff. That includes the realignment as well as the creation of the new precinct. So that's my motion.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion also carries. Next, we have a review of the demolished buildings report.
Yes, Administrator Chuck Eckert will be presenting the demolished buildings report to the board.
Good morning.
Morning, Chuck.
Morning.
You have, in your packets, been provided with 2 spreadsheets. We'll begin with the spreadsheet registered voters at 2024 demolished buildings, City of Cincinnati. On March 27th, we received information from the City of Cincinnati. We identified 9 voters at 8 properties. On April 1st, we mailed letters, registration forms, and postage-paid return envelopes to all. We received 4 back as non-deliverable. On April 7th, a bipartisan staff visited each site, and photos are provided for you to review.
We have traditionally just challenged these voters, right?
Yes, that's correct.
On this list, I'll move then that we do what we've almost always done on this, and that is challenge the voters if they attempt to cast a ballot from that location.
I second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There anything else?
There's an additional spreadsheet. It's registered voters at 2024 Demolished Buildings Port Authority. On April 2nd, we received the information from the Port Authority. We identified one voter at one property. On April 4th, we mailed a letter, registration form, postage paid, returned envelope. It was returned as undeliverable. On April 7th, the bipartisan team visited the site, and a photo is provided for you.
That photo looks like there's a building there. What am I missing?
Yes, you're correct, so I can address that. An individual with the same last name as the voter sold the property in 2016. This is according to the auditor's records. That's new owner sold the property in 2023 to the Hamilton County Land Reutilization Corporation. So the property was then demolished in 2024. At the time of the site visit, the new construction was almost complete. The property was unoccupied. There was a cleaning crew on site who informed our team that they were cleaning the property again, which was unoccupied, which would be listed for sale, and it is currently listed for sale.
So when we challenge somebody, it's listed, it's sort of tied to their name. It's like the new occupant of that house will have their
It's tied to the voter's record, not the property.
right.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so with that, then, I would move that we treat this one as we just did the others, and that is Mr. Powell, who is still registered there, who, again, just hasn't voted or anything there, but nevertheless, we should challenge him in case he tries to. So that's my motion.
I second it.
Any discussion? I just want to note that what this means is if Mr. Powell should attempt to vote, he will have to provide additional documentation to prove his residence before casting his ballot. Essentially, that's the process that we're undergoing here, which has been our historical practice.
Right.
Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries.
Can I go back for a minute? Are we going to address the two voters that did potentially cast ballots from vacant lots? Looks like there were two. Am I wrong?
No, that's correct. On the first list, demolished buildings report for the city of Cincinnati, voter number 5 and number 6. According to the city of Cincinnati records, the building was demolished, one in June of 2024, the other in July of 2024, and both of those voters cast a ballot in the November 5th, 2024 election registered from those addresses. And I believe Administrator Eckert, do you have further information on how their ballots were cast?
Yes, ma'am. They both voted in precinct on Election Day.
What have we done in the past? We've either sent these over for additional investigation, investigated ourselves, or sent them to the secretaries. Those are 3 options.
Yes, I'm not sure how much more investigation we would be able to do on our end, since they're no longer obviously living at the address we have on file for them.
Okay.
So I think it would be to either refer to the prosecutor's office or refer to the Secretary of State's Voter Integrity Division.
Yeah.
I think the Secretary of State's office has told us that they prefer we refer to the prosecutor's office while simultaneously notifying them of the referral, because they defer to the local law enforcement before they do their thing. So that would be my recommendation if there's consensus.
There is with me. I'll move that we refer those two just for further investigation. I mean, again, just to be clear for the record, it looks like if we're to accept, and again, the evidence that's before us tells me that the one building was demolished on June 25th, and on 11/5, someone went and cast a ballot as if they were living there. Again, and then the other voter, the date of demolish was 7/10, and then the voter again went several months later and cast a ballot in November of 2024. I think that's worthy of further investigation. So I'll move that those two matters be referred to the prosecutor's office for further investigation. And then also, as the director indicates, simultaneously notify the secretary's office about what's transpired here.
I second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. So in the past, we've had situations where a building has been demolished. Some have burnt down. And I know in the past, we had a situation where someone's house burnt down and they were gone for 2 years before they rebuilt it. And they were still voting from that address. So there may not be anything nefarious. You know, it's pretty recent, like within about, a few months, the building was demolished and then they voted in that following election. So I'm just saying it may not be that it's some kind of illegal activity. I don't want to throw shade like it's illegal activity because it was so recent. I'm just throwing that out there.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, next we have approval of the full-time staff job description revisions.
Yes, staff has been reviewing our full-time staff job descriptions over the last month or so. It's been a few years since we've reviewed. We have recommended red line changes that are in your packet. There's no, major changes with this. It's just simply tweaking the job descriptions to more accurately describe each employee's, each of the duties of these responsibilities. So we recommend approval.
I'll move approval of the new job descriptions as recommended by staff, and also while I'm making it, just thank the staff for using this quote off year to do these important sort of back of the house organizational things. So, but yeah, my motion is to approve them.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. Next up, we have approval of the updated organizational chart.
Yes, a copy of that is also in your packet. We're not recommending any type of major restructuring, just simply a refresh of the board's organizational chart.
It's way more colorful. So I'll move approval of the organizational chart as recommended by the staff.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. Next, we have approval of personnel policy revisions.
Yes, in your packets, and I believe these were also circulated to the board, we are recommending a revision to 4 of our sections in our personnel policy manual. I could go ahead and take these one at a time. And this is an ongoing process. Staff and our HR officers just, again, taking a look at our personnel manual, comparing it to the commissioners, seeing where we need to make changes. So in this first one, section 2.3, appointment of Board of Elections employees, we're recommending adding paragraph J. This simply creates a policy that requires the HR officer to create onboarding and offboarding packets and be responsible for those duties. These are things our HR officer already does. We already have these checklists, but we thought it would be a good idea to include this in our manual and actually have a policy for it. The changes are redlined in your packet.
Just by way of governance here, do we want to do these line by line, or do you want to see if there's a, I can tell you now, knowing what I know and having reviewed before the meeting, there is one of these 4 provisions that I think that it's pending with the prosecutor's office for further review, and it would be my position that we just kind of get sign off from legal before we adopt it. So I don't know what the pleasure of the rest of the board would be if you want to do 3 of them rather than a 4th.
Well, there is one I had a question about, so it might be the same one, but I'm with you on that. It's the second one,
So you
actually.
want to just do them all 4 there?
So should we
Whatever.
just do section by section? Maybe approve all the sections for 2.3? Which,
2.3 is just one page, there's one
yeah,
section there.
well, there's two, isn't there? Oh.
Well, the next one is 4.2.
4.2 is the one I have questions about.
Good.
Okay.
And I know that one is pending approval from the prosecutor's office, right?
Yes.
Okay, my question was just one of procedure, like, do we want to, if there's going to be consensus on 3, which I think there might be, just kind of knowing what I know, do we want to do those 3, or do we want to just table all 4 until we get approval? I don't know if the board's,
I'm okay with all 3 and then table 1.
okay,
until-
fair enough.
Yeah, I think that would be the recommendation from staff as well.
Okay, very good. Sorry.
As
I just
well.
wanted to-
No.
So maybe perhaps, we've just reviewed 2.3, we could skip 4.2 and move to 5.1?
Let's make it clean then. I will move approval of the recommended changes to section 2.3 of the personnel policy manual.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries.
The next is section 4.2, work week and work scheduling. The proposed revision is also paragraph J. This policy we had submitted to our legal counsel at the prosecutor's office for review. They've not yet been able to review. In all fairness, we just sent it to them last week. So this would be the one I think that we would recommend postponing until your next meeting. So we have weigh-in from our legal counsel.
And for the benefit of the public, this policy governs remote access to work in extenuating circumstances, which is particularly challenging in this building because of all of the IT security infrastructure that we have. So I'm definitely supportive of giving the prosecutors time to review that. And I guess, should we just do a motion to postpone consideration?
I'll move that we table the consideration of that item, which would be the amendment to 4.2 of the personnel policy revision. So I'll move that we table that portion, that one section.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries.
The next is section 5.1, sick leave. Staff is recommending adding the language serious health condition for a reason for an employee to use sick leave for serious health condition of a family member. That language is not currently in our policy. So the language illness, injury is in the policy, but serious health condition is not currently in the policy. So we would like to add that.
Just those 3 words are all we're looking to add to that
Yes.
section. I'll move approval of that amendment to section 5.1 of our sick leave, the sick leave section of our personnel policy manual.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries.
The next is section 6.0, vacation. We are recommending that we revise this policy to match a recent change that the Board of County Commissioners made to vacation leave, and that is that the employee, after 3 years of service, would earn basically an additional week of vacation. So our current policy is that employees start earning 3 weeks of vacation at 5 years of service, and we're recommending that we match the commissioner's recent change, that they would begin accruing that at 3 years. Then there's also a change of the next step, which would be accruing 4 weeks of vacation. It's currently at 10. This revision would take that to 8. And then it would leave the last bump up, which is 5 weeks of vacation, not occurring until 15 years of service.
I'll move approval of the recommended changes to the vacation policy to match what other county employees are all getting.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. Okay, and that will do it for our personnel policy revisions. Is it my understanding that there might be more coming at future meetings?
That's correct. This is an ongoing project. We think that may even take us into next year as well, because we've been informed that the commissioners are also reviewing their personnel policy manual. So as they make changes, we'll review to see if those changes apply to us. So
It's very refreshing because I remember in the past, it took us years.
yes.
Took us years.
Yes. We did a complete rewrite in 2017, and we've been doing a pretty good job of keeping up on it since then.
Thank you. Good job.
Okay, next on our agenda is approval of the election administration policy, number 23, voter change of name policy.
By way of background, when a voter has a change of name, if the voter updates the voter registration record by the close of registration for that election, then the voter just casts a regular ballot. The law curves out, though, an exception for voters who have a change in name and do not update their registration record prior to the close. If they provide proof of the name change, they can still, when they appear to vote, they can still cast a regular ballot. If they do not provide proof of the name change, then they're required to cast a provisional ballot. What's a little unique to Hamilton County is that our marriage license, which would be proof of a change of name, does not contain the individual's former name. It only contains, that document only contains the new name. The law prescribes that proof of legal name change, such as a marriage license or a court order, contain both the prior and the new name. Again, in Hamilton County, our marriage licenses do not contain that former name. The Secretary of State's election officials manual does not require the marriage license to contain the former and current name. So we addressed the situation with our legal counsel, who recommended that the board adopt a policy that basically would allow the staff to accept, and poll workers at polling places, to accept the marriage license, even though it only contains the new name. So we have, based upon that recommendation, drafted the voter change of name policy that's in front of you. This has been approved to form by our legal counsel.
I know this has been a point of confusion at the polls in the past, and so I'm grateful for the staff and the prosecutor's office for taking that on. And as I recall, the statute is written in a way that sort of, it contemplates that certified abstract of marriage would, of course, have that information on it, but in not all counties that is the case. So I'm grateful for this, and I'm supportive of the change.
As am I.
Yeah, it's also going to require us to, I guess, with our training, to kind of let all of our poll workers know that that's a, because you know how sometimes something's new, they'll tell one precinct will be telling everybody, well, you can't do a regular ballot, you got to vote provisionally. So the training is going to have to have that inserted into it.
Yes, absolutely. We will make sure that happens. Yes.
And the policy also matches the directive from the Secretary of State, and his job is to tell us how to do this stuff. So, great.
Okay.
I'll move approval of the new policy on voter change of name.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. Okay, next we have a resolution authorizing extension of election night reporting software subscription agreement.
Yeah, so our current contract has expired, so we issued an RFP, request for proposals. We've received 3. One was from our current vendor, SOE. Another was from 10X, who, although they are a vendor for other products, they are not currently our vendor for election night reporting. And then a third vendor by the name of Paradox. Paradox, as far as cost, far exceeded the other 2 vendors. It appears their proposal was to actually create an election night reporting system, whereas the other 2 vendors already have election night reporting software. They're simply proposing a subscription for their current system. You'll notice the language in the resolution is that staff is recommending that SOE Software Corporation is the lowest and best bid based upon the evaluation factors. SOE is slightly more in cost than the 10X proposal. However, in completing our evaluation scoring matrix, as well as receiving references from other customers, we feel that SOE is the best product. It just has a few features that the 10X system does not have. And we've been using the SOE product for well over a decade. So we feel that our constituents have become accustomed to that reporting system and the features that it offers. So staff recommendation is to adopt this resolution, giving the director and deputy director the authority to execute the contract with SOE.
Yeah, we don't want to go backwards.
We don't.
Right.
Somewhere. So I'm going to move that we adopt Resolution 25-006.
Second.
Director Pullen, I don't see on the resolution, and maybe I'm just missing it, what would the term of this new contract be?
Oh, it is, I don't think it is in there. It's a 3-year contract.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion carries. Okay. Next, we have approval of the 2026 budget.
Yes, the proposed budget is in your packet. We are not recommending an increase in personnel, nor do we have any major capital expenses budgeted, and that was at the request of county administration. So this is our proposed budget that will be formally submitted to the county budget office for 2026.
I'll move approval of the proposed 2026 the budget.
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? That motion carries.
In case
Good
anybody
luck.
wondered, it's $12.5 million to run the place, right?
Yes,
I was going to say, good
that's
luck
for
to
an
the
even year.
Yeah, even here, right?
We go up and down. Odd years are a little less expensive than even years.
and good luck to the director and deputy director when you present that to the commissioners. It should be fine. Is there any other business to come before the board?
There is, and this is not something that the board needs to vote on, but we believe the minutes should reflect that at your June 10th meeting, the board certified an independent candidate petition for Kathy Pittman. This would have been the election for clerk treasurer in the village of Laughlin. On June 25th of this year, we received an ordinance from the village of Laughlin that establishing the appointed position of village fiscal officer and abolishing the elected position of village clerk treasurer. So there is no longer a need to have an election for that position because the village has abolished it and made it an appointed position versus an elected. And since you had already certified a petition for that election, we felt it would be best to have the minutes reflect why there will not be an election for that position.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
And the last thing is, we will be hosting the Southwest Regional Meeting here at the Board of Elections on July 18th, starting at 8:30 a.m. and to 3 p.m. if you would like to come.
So July 13th? 18th.
Okay, and just for the record, our next regular scheduled meeting would be on August 5th, but staff is going to help us reschedule that meeting so that we can better work around the various filing deadlines for local municipal elections. So that date will be changing, and of course, our secretary will notice the change as soon as we have it scheduled. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board? Okay, yeah. Yeah, could you come to the mic and? I'm gonna ask the director to answer
Yeah.
that question.
No new information since the public inquired last time. It's just our understanding that it's still under investigation. I don't know that I'm at liberty to say, actually.
Be best for our staff not to, it's an ongoing criminal investigation. Just don't want to get in the way of what they're doing. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, having recently attended a training at the Secretary of State's conference about efficient running of board meetings, I learned that we do not have to do a motion to adjourn. Instead, the chair can simply ask, is there any other business to come before the board? And seeing none, we stand adjourned.
Show off.